Hi everyone, and welcome to MaryAnn's Whimsical Art World weekly Facebook Live. I'm MaryAnn, if you don't know me, and I'm a visual artist. I say I'm a visual artist because I don't know exactly what kind of artist I am. For some other artists, it's very clear. Like they would say they do abstracts, they do oils, they do animals, portraits, landscapes, and so on and so forth. But I feel that like a lot of times my work kind of looks like illustration, more towards illustration, but I'm not quite an illustrator. Like I don't really consider myself like an illustrator in the full sense of the word. And at the same time, I'm also not really sure if I am considered a fine artist. So visual artist is a safe generic label. So I would say like at this point in time, how I would introduce myself and my work is that I make whimsical art with my original characters like PenguinGirl, Pengzilla, and a dreamer penguin, because that penguin can fly and lives in the sky and in the clouds. And the story that I'm telling really is based on my own journey, my own personal experiences, my own sense of like trying to figure out who I am and what I'm really doing here and what this whole journey is all about. So I was thinking about what to share this week, and I thought, hey, I think this would be a good time to share about my beginnings of my whole artist journey, because it was really, a lot of it had to do with my drawing class art professor. So I want to share how she encouraged me and how she was a big part in me becoming an artist and getting started on this journey of being an artist. That drawing class was as close to a formal art education as I have had so far. Don't know if there'll be more in the future, because I never say never. Not never, but like mostly I don't say never. And so I was studying in Nashville, Tennessee. That's in the US. And at that time, my dream was to be like a contemporary Christian pop singer-songwriter. Whole other long story there. But basically, I went to Nashville just because I wanted to be a Christian singer-songwriter. And I kind of went through this process of discovering more about the music industry. And even though I enjoy writing songs, I started to feel like, I don't know about writing commercial music, like top 40s charts. And also when I learned about how songwriters make money, which is basically, you sit in a room probably with another songwriter and you try to churn out a hit song because they make money through royalties. And the thought of being in a room, like, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, like office hours basically, trying to churn out a hit song just didn't sit right with me. So something was missing in terms of thinking about my career as a singer-songwriter. And I couldn't pinpoint what it was. And in fact, I had felt like this thing had been missing for years, because I had tried many different other career possibilities as well. And so here I was, with my second bachelor's degree in the US, and I am like a year, half a year more to graduating, and I realized that I have no idea what I want to do as a career. I have no idea what I want to do after I graduate. So I decided that for my last 2 semesters, I was going to take other different classes to explore different things. And one of those classes in my final semester, this was in 2011, so from like January to May 2011, I did Introduction to Drawing. That was when I met Mary Pat Turner. She was my professor for that class. And I basically went to this drawing class having not drawn anything for like over 20 years. Because when I was 8 years old, I wanted to be an artist, and I was discouraged from that, completely forgot about it. And so like the only drawing I had done was like whatever is required for like school art classes back in like primary, secondary school. But like ever since I was like 15 or 16, I hadn't drawn anything. So by this time in 2011, I was 28. I was 28, and I was taking this drawing class, and I was kind of freaking out because I wasn't sure how I was gonna do any of these assignments, because I thought like Introduction to Drawing is gonna be really simple, right? And then when she gave us the first assignment, so she had this whole setup in the studio, which was like a chair, a table, and some other items. Actually, I would just show you the drawing. And I was just like, oh my god, how am I supposed to draw this? Because there's just no way that I'm gonna figure this out since, you know, I hadn't drawn anything in a while. So I was basically I felt like I was thrown into the deep end of this drawing pool. But anyway, I kind of just stuck with it. I just, you know, listened and took notes and just copied what she showed. Like, she was showing us, you know, how to like measure the thing by holding a pencil and then all that. And we have to sit at the exact same spot in relation to that still life, because otherwise our perspective would be thrown off. So anyway, this was the drawing from that class. So basically you can see like it's a chair with a table and like a spear, some like polygonal shaped things. And basically the whole point of this exercise was to get the drawing as proportionate as possible, and also we couldn't do any shading, so we had to use lines as a way to indicate where the shadows were. So you can see like there are some lines here to indicate where the shadows are, and it's about the, you know, how like deep the color of the pencil is when you are drawing, to indicate like light and depth and all of that. So yeah, that was to me that was challenging, because I was like, what is this? Like, I have never done this before. I don't know if I'm actually going to be able to figure it out, but clearly, as you can see, I managed to figure it out. Okay, so anyway, moving on to the second assignment. So the second assignment was actually a lot more tougher, and I'm just going to show it to you briefly. It took me 30 hours to finish this drawing, and somewhere around the like 15th, 16th hour, I mean, not that I was really keeping track of the time, I had the flashback of when I was 8 years old and I wanted to be an artist, and I was discouraged from it because, like I said, I had totally forgotten that was what I wanted. And so it was in the middle of this drawing assignment where I felt like it was never ending that I basically remembered that I wanted to be an artist. So this is that drawing. So again, this is a still life. This is like a mass of random things, and once again we had to do it with I think it's called a contour line drawing. So basically, instead of shading, we use line as a way to indicate the shadows and the distance and the depth and all that. And her instructions were just to incorporate 4 objects in this picture, but I started with the head, and I realized that because of where I was sitting, I was drawing exactly the size that I was seeing, which meant that I had to incorporate pretty much everything. Like, I would say like 60%, maybe 70% of the objects ended up in my drawing. So that's why it took me 30 hours. So yeah, this is my second assignment in that class. And again, also I was like kind of trying to figure out how to do this, but somehow I managed to get through. So it was during this assignment, I think in the beginning part of working on this assignment, that Mary Pat, that's what we called her. She didn't want to be called like Professor Turner, because she's like, whoa, what? But she was a professor, is a professor. I think she's still teaching, but I'm not sure. Anyway, so Mary Pat asked me when I was working on this assignment if I was going to focus on design or fine art. And I was confused by this question. So I asked her, asked to clarify, and she said, oh, you know, you're an art major, right? So are you going to go focus more on design because your work looks very clean, or are you planning to focus more on fine art? And I said, I am majoring in songwriting, and I'm actually about to graduate. And she was surprised. She was like, oh, I thought you were a freshman and that you're going to major in art. And I was like, no, I'm about to graduate with songwriting. But of course, I didn't tell her that I was questioning all of that. Okay, so basically these 2 first assignments, you know, we had there was like a display board in the corridor of the art building, and the work that she thought was done well, she would put them up. So both my drawings got put up on the wall. Yay! It was a weird thing because I felt like, oh, you know, it's actually good, but like I did that, like, yeah, I wasn't certain about. I had no idea how I was doing these assignments. Okay, like seriously, each time she gave the assignment, each one just sounded more difficult than the last. And every time I started on them, I had no idea how I was gonna do it. But somehow I managed to pull it through, and somehow it ends up on the display, so no idea. Our third assignment, she wanted us to take a photo, and we were going to study perspective. And so perspective basically just means like, I mean, I don't want to get all technical, but it's like, you know, 1-point perspective means that things look a certain way, and 2-point perspective means things look a certain way because there's like 2 vanishing points and all of that. Okay, blah blah, very technical. Not the purpose of this video. But anyway, this was the photo that I took. And basically we had to use this photo as our reference, and we had to recreate this image, but only using like a few colors in acrylic. I had never used acrylic before that. And then we had to do the line work in ink. So it was still a drawing assignment more than a painting assignment. But to me it was like, oh my gosh, now we have to paint? Like, what? This is like beyond the deep end of the pool now. Like, I'm in the ocean now, basically. So this was my picture. And so she was asking me, like, you know, what am I planning to do for that assignment? And I said, I actually like this picture a lot, because I had a few others to choose from. But I really like this one. But I wasn't sure about it because it looked really complicated. And I also wasn't sure about drawing the people, because she did say, like, you know, if there are people in the picture, just don't draw them because it's hard to like get the proportions right. And so she was like, well, you know, if this is the picture you really like, you should just go for it. And I was like, oh, you know, I don't know. I don't know if I can do it. And this is when she told me that in all the semesters that she's taught this class, and I think at that time it was like 3 semesters, I was one of the best students in terms of the technical ability that she ever taught. And I was like shocked to hear that. And she wanted me to draw the people. Like, she was like, I think you should draw the people in because I definitely am sure that you can do it. And I was just, whoa, like surreal moments, like what? Like I just couldn't believe what I was hearing. Okay, but that still was not the thing. Anyway, yeah, just to show you this picture. So this was the original photo. So this is done on wood, and you know, we put like 2 things behind to hang it. And basically it's done in acrylic on this piece of wood. And once again, I was like totally unsure how to do this piece, but I just followed her instructions, and I just, you know, chipped away at it a little bit at a time until I got this finished product. Yeah, and I mean, till today, I think it has been one of like my best works. And of course, it's not for sale because I'm very attached to it, and there's a lot of sentimental value because of all the memories that comes with it. Actually, we had 2 more assignments. So during the 5th assignment, it was basically the last day of the class, because even though she gave us the assignment, it was like, yeah, you know, just do it, and you don't really have to turn it in. So when I was doing that last assignment, and we were working on it in class, she kind of came around, you know, and this was the last day of this class. And she came to me, and she went, oh, you know, I can't believe that you're about to graduate and go and do songwriting. And I was like, what? And of course, I still didn't tell her that I was like, you know, questioning whether I want to be a songwriter or not. I just politely like, yeah. And she says, but it's okay. I still believe that you're going to do art. And one day I will walk into this gallery and I'll see this painting on the wall with your name on it. And I'll be like, that was my student. And then she went away. And I'm like, did she really just say that to me? I couldn't believe it, because it was at that moment when she said that, you know, that belief that she had in me, it kind of sealed the deal for me that, like, you know what, I'm going to give this art thing a shot. Like, I have no idea how I'm going to do it. I guess I will just figure it out as I go along. But, you know, if this person and a professional artist, because she wasn't just an art professor, she was a professional artist herself. If this professional artist, who's also a professor, believes that I have what it takes, then I can't not do anything about it. Like, I have to do something about it. And so that was a huge part of what drove me to move from Nashville, basically pack all my stuff into my car, drive all the way up to New York City, because I had always wanted to live there. And I stayed there for a year and tried to figure out how to be an artist. And of course, that is a whole other journey and a lot of struggles and so on and so forth. But to this day, her words always stuck with me, because in some strange way it became like this goal to aspire towards, that one day I'm still waiting for that day when I would have my work in a gallery somewhere and she would walk in and see it on the wall and be like, that was my student. So That has not happened yet, but I think I will get there at some point. I mean, it's not that difficult. I'll probably just have to figure out where she's at and then get my work into a gallery there. I think my art school drawings have been like kept away for so long now that it's nice to actually take them out and look at them again and to show it and share it with you all. So thank you for that opportunity, and thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching this live event. And I'm really glad to be doing this. It has been challenging, but it has also been very exciting. And I'm really glad that I started doing this.